At 5 o'clock in the morning on the 27th of November 1810, somebody knocked on the door of 54 Berners Street, London. It was a chimney sweep. Nobody in the house had ordered a chimney sweep. By breakfast, there were 12 chimney sweeps. By lunch, there were wedding cakes, coal wagons, doctors, priests, lawyers, pianos, and 2,500 raspberry tarts. By evening, the Lord Mayor of London had personally shown up. So had, reportedly, the Archbishop of Canterbury. All of it, every single visitor, traced back to one man, watching from a window across the street, who had done the entire thing to win a bet worth 1 guinea. This is the Berners Street Hoax, the day one man weaponized the postal service. And it gets stupider because it worked on some of the most powerful people in Britain. Meet Theodore Hook. In 1810, he's in his early 20s and he's already famous in London for 2 things: writing comic operas and being incapable of behaving. He's the kind of man who, at dinner parties, improvises entire songs about the other guests until they leave. One day, he's walking through the West End with his friend Samuel Beazley, an architect. They pass Berners Street, quiet, respectable, deeply boring, and Hook points at number 54, the home of a widow named Mrs. Tottenham, a woman he has never met who has done nothing to him, and says, "I bet you 1 guinea that within a week I can make that house the most famous address in London." Beazley takes the bet. This is the last sensible decision anyone in this story makes, because Hook goes home and starts writing letters. Not a few letters. Around 4,000 letters. Everyone signed in Mrs. Tottenham's name. Everyone ordering something delivered to 54 Berners Street. Coal, cakes, furniture, fish, doctors, priests, pianos, and here's the detail that makes him a professional. He staggered the arrival times. This wasn't a prank. This was logistics. It took him weeks. Some accounts say he had accomplices. Most of the work was his. Then he rented a room in the house directly opposite number 54, pulled up a chair with Beazley, and waited for 5 a.m. At 5 o'clock, knock knock. A chimney sweep. Mrs. Tottenham's maid explains that nobody ordered a sweep and sends him away. Fine. Mistakes happen, then another sweep arrives, then another. 12 chimney sweeps, one after the other, before the sun is fully up. Then the coal starts. Wagon after wagon, each driver holding a written order with her name on it. Then the wedding cakes. Multiple bakers, each with a cake costing 10 guineas, 10 times the value of Hook's entire bet. Mrs. Tottenham is not getting married. The maid's answer at the door stops being an apology and becomes a system. It does not help because the street is filling up. Every tradesman who gets turned away has a cart, and every cart is now stuck behind another cart. By mid-morning, Berners Street is not a street anymore. It's a parking lot for horses. Now the professionals start. Doctors, then surgeons, then apothecaries. Each one has a letter saying someone at number 54 is gravely ill. Behind the doctors, priests and vicars summoned to comfort a dying woman. Behind the priests, undertakers, with a coffin made to measure. Mrs. Tottenham, to be clear, is fine. Then the food arrives, fishmongers with lobsters and cod, bootmakers with boots, wig makers with wigs, and, according to one account, roughly 40 chefs delivering 2,500 raspberry tarts. Nobody in the history of the world has needed 2,500 raspberry tarts. Then it gets loud because the pianos show up. Several pianos, from several competing piano shops. And in the most famous detail of the whole day, 6 men carrying a full church organ. Somewhere in the pile there are also linen drapers, opticians, curiosity dealers, and at least one man trying to deliver a carriage. Everyone is waving a letter with the same signature. The crowd of angry tradesmen is now so big it has its own gravity. Onlookers arrive to watch the angry tradesman, which makes the crowd bigger, which attracts more onlookers. The authorities post offices at both ends of the street. It changes nothing. Central London is gridlocked because of one address all day. You'd think important people would be harder to fool. Hook bet otherwise. Each VIP got a personal letter tailored to be impossible to ignore. The Lord Mayor of London arrived in his official carriage. He'd been told a dying woman needed to settle her affairs, and that a great deal of money was involved. The Governor of the Bank of England came, the Chairman of the East India Company came, a Royal Duke came, and, according to several accounts, the Archbishop of Canterbury himself. Imagine being the Archbishop of Canterbury, wading through 2,000 raspberry tarts to reach a house where nothing is happening. The Lord Mayor's stay was short. The street was so blocked his carriage could barely turn around. He went straight to the magistrates and demanded someone find whoever did this. And across the street, behind a curtain, Theodore Hook watched all of it, having technically already won his guinea days earlier. It is the best value for money in the history of mischief. London was furious. The newspapers covered it for days. An investigation was opened. Rewards were discussed. Everyone wanted a name. And everyone, more or less immediately, guessed the name. Theodore Hook was the most famous prankster in London, and this was the most Theodore Hook thing that had ever happened. But nobody could prove it. 4,000 letters, and not one traced back to him. Hook, sensing the temperature, announced he was unwell and left town to recover in the countryside. He was never charged for this. Years later, the government, apparently having done no research whatsoever, put him in charge of the treasury of Mauritius. A large amount of money went missing on his watch. That time, they did arrest him. And Mrs. Tottenham, history records almost nothing else about her. She never ordered anything. She never got an apology. She just got 12 chimney sweeps and an organ. One last thing. Decades later, in 1840, somebody mailed what's believed to be the world's first picture postcard. It was a hand-drawn joke about the postal service. The sender was Theodore Hook. He mailed it to himself. The man simply could not stop. The lesson, as always, fame is easy. Just make sure the address is somebody else's. Knock knock. Subscribe. Mrs. Tottenham never ordered that either.